Good morning, everyone. Today's the day. That's right. After all our days of hard work and messing around, I guess, we finally get to go to Hong Kong. In fact, we're leaving right now. Now, the game says that it's 8:45, January the 10th, 1987, which means that Ryo Hazuki is leaving for Hong Kong immediately after beating the Mad Angels, and I think that this is actually incorrect. I think that there have in fact been a few days that have passed since that incident, since beating up all the Mad Angels and beating Terry. And after a few days of, say, recuperation and preparation for his epic vengeance quest to Hong Kong, the day has finally arrived and he's ready to leave early in the morning. I'll explain why I think the game is incorrect when it comes to that date, but for now let's just assume that a few days have passed and it's finally time for Ryo Hazuki to go to Hong Kong.
Ryo-san! Here, it's for you. From Ine-san, and it's not much, but from me.
Oh. Fuku-san.
Take care, and come back in one piece.
And so, we take one final stroll through the town of Dobuita. We've spent many of our days here, perhaps too many, but we've created many memories that will last a lifetime. We must be grateful for the town's many vending machines that kept Ryo Hazuki refreshed, day after day. The many days we spent wandering around aimlessly, talking to people, and trying to find out information about sailors or Chinese people. And in doing so, we've learned a lot about the people who live and work here. Perhaps Kurita and Yuriko will get back together, or maybe he'll find a new love in his life. Maybe Wang will finally remember to bring some change so that he can buy drinks from the vending machines and not have to wait for Ryo Hazuki to come along. Perhaps those two grumpy bikers will tell more people to kiss off. And maybe Mario at the pizzeria will finally reveal that his real name is Bob, and that he's not Italian in the slightest, and comes from Brooklyn. Whoops, I shouldn't have said that was a secret. Farewell, people of Yokosuka. Goodbye, Tomato Convenience Store. You were always there for me when I needed cat food, and I'll forever cherish the copy of Space Harrier, and the action figure of Metal Sonic that I won in the raffle. Goodbye, you arcade. We had some fun games. Well, except for darts, obviously. Thank you, Empty Car Park, for all the days of karate practice and letting me get sweaty when I wanted to. And last but not least, goodbye, Shenmue. I hope Megumi is treating you well. May you grow up to be a strong and healthy cat. Don't worry, Shenmue. I'll avenge both our parents. Goodbye, everyone. Till we meet again.
Your foolishness knows no bounds, eh?
Thank you for arranging my trip to Hong Kong.
Thanks to you, the Longjaw was thwarted. It was the least I could do.
Thank you very much.
You're too reckless. It worries me, so I'm going with you.
What do you mean?
I cannot allow you to go alone. Besides, we also need to know what Lan Di is doing.
That's the gist of it.
The diving swallow style should be useful on your journey.
What?
A style from the Hebei province in use since the Song dynasty. I will teach you its most sacred move, the swallow flip. Guisheng,
Yes.
you utilize your opponent's attack to flip them. First, I will explain the basic form. Watch closely. You take one step backwards to parry the opponent's attack. Then focus power in your arms to throw your opponent off balance. Immediately kick their legs out and flip. In actual combat, you'd strike here. The throw alone won't incapacitate your opponent.
Wow, that's awesome, Chen.
First, try to execute the proper form. Shift your weight while taking one step back.
You might think it's weird we're being taught a new move at the end of the game, but this is something we can take with us to
you've
Shenmue
acquired the form.
2. So it's all good.
Next, as you drop, use your arms to throw your opponent off balance. Well then, give it a try.
Now I remember when I first played this game, this bit took me ages because I thought he meant back and throw. He says use your arms to throw your opponent, but no, it's back and
Yes,
punch.
that is correct. Kick your opponent's legs out and flip. Well then, give it a try.
It's like, yeah, you step back and then throw your opponent, but no, he says use your arms to throw your opponent. So what that means is use the punch button because
You
the punch
had no
indicates
power
an arm
in
move.
your legs.
But yeah, the full command is back and punch, quickly followed by
Yes,
a kick.
that's the proper form. But to truly master the swallow flip, you must be able to anticipate your opponent's attack. Guizhang, spar.
What?
Practice is required to master the attack quickly. You must attack him in earnest.
I will.
Begin.
So this move is actually a counter. If you press back and punch as an enemy is punching you, then you can counter it and throw them.
You moved one step too late.
Once you successfully counter them, you have to quickly press the kick button to flip them over like that.
Excellent. Well executed. You have more ability than I thought.
No, sir. You're a superior instructor.
This technique works best when you can anticipate your opponent's attack. Do you wish to practice further to master the timing of the attack?
Yeah, that might be a good idea. It's kind of hard to actually time the counter.
Yes, please.
Very well. Guizhang,
Yes.
So yeah, it's a little bit tricky to pull off. You have to get the timing right, and you can only counter certain moves, so it's kind of hard to use. The thing is though, if you press back and punch and the enemy isn't attacking, then you'll just throw a punch instead. So even if you don't really successfully counter the enemy, you might be able to just land a punch on them
it
anyway.
seems you've learned the attack.
Yes.
This technique works best when you can anticipate your opponent's attack. Do you wish to practice further to master the timing of the attack?
No, thank you. I think I can manage now.
Very well. Then there is nothing more that I can do.
I am in your debt.
You're going?
Yes.
Look out! Kusan! Behind you!
You're not going to Hong Kong because the great Chai will defeat you.
Aw, shit. Looks like there's one more thing to take care of before we go to Hong Kong. One final rematch with Chai. He beat us pretty hard last time, but we've been training. We're indestructible. Nothing's gonna stop me now. Unlike the last time we fought him, you have to win this fight. No more screwing around, this is the real deal. Now the game has actually made him a little bit easier the second time round. He generally parries less of your moves, and I think he has less health as well. Even so, he's still pretty challenging, so you have to watch out. Let's see if you can use what we just learned and counter his moves. Oop, forgot to kick. Ah, fuck it. That'll do. I don't know why he did that taunt after the stab armor. Maybe it was like a critical hit or something. Now, because Chai is crouching all the time, it seems like kicks are more effective. Whenever I do like the quick jab punches, they always seem to just not connect as well, or they just go over him entirely, because he's crouching all the time. Yeah, this fight actually does go on for a little bit, because he has a lot of health and he likes to parry a lot of my attacks and stuff, like so. Also, he likes to go in between my legs like that. I don't quite get that. Usually, he does try to get behind you sometimes, and if he does manage to do that, he'll try to do this sort of special back attack, which does quite a bit of damage. If he does get behind you using one of those weird flips or throws, then you want to just smash the punch button, because then you'll just throw out a quick punch, and that usually orientates you in the right direction. I love those grab counters. But yeah, even though the game's kind of made him easier the second time round so that he's actually beatable, he's still pretty challenging. In fact, this fight took me a couple of tries. If you fail this fight, you have to restart it. Every now and again in this fight, I'm trying to do the swallow flip counter, the back and punch thing that we just learned. And as I mentioned, if you press back and punch and an enemy's not doing something you can counter, you'll just throw a punch instead. So, I don't know, there doesn't seem to be that much penalty for just occasionally pressing back and punch, because if you do it right, then you'll parry a move, just like that. If you do it wrong, then you'll just throw out a punch, and hopefully you'll just hit the enemy anyways, and it won't matter too much. So yeah, you could probably just get away with this occasionally pressing back and punch if you think an enemy's about to attack, and you know, you can't really go too wrong, honestly. You know, watching this back, I think I used the stab armor a little too often. Ooh, damn, that's gotta hurt. Nice finishing blow.
What are you doing here? Where's Landy?
Landy-sama is sailing the sea on a ship bound for Hong Kong.
So, Landy's already left for Hong Kong.
This is like the third time we've been told this. You know, Lundy-sama, you don't need to stand. There are plenty of seats available. In fact, it's quite dangerous to stand on the deck while I'm driving the boat at this speed. Oh, you'd rather stand? Okay. Also, not that I'm questioning you, Lundy-sama, but do we have to take the boat? I get seasick way too easily, and I'm sure we could afford a plane ticket. Oh, your plane ticket was eaten? That's a little strange. Alright. Also, can I have my sunglasses? I've been asking for sunglasses for the past month, and every other agent has one, but I don't. Lundy-sama, please pay attention to me.
Kuisa!
You cannot travel injured.
It's my fault.
Don't worry. This injury will heal soon. Go on ahead.
Kuisa,
Don't worry about my son. At the moment, I don't know where Zhu Yuanda is. Instead, I will introduce you to someone I know can be trusted. Tao Li Shou, one of Hong Kong's elder masters. The address is in there.
thank you very much. Nozomi,
Oh, Ryo!
How long is he standing there for?
I scared you?
No, just spooked.
Completely different.
You know, it's kind of funny.
Funny?
What is this funny you speak of?
See, I was just making a wish for you, and you suddenly appeared.
A wish for me?
You are going to Hong Kong, aren't you?
How did you know?
I finally made Fukusan tell me.
That little squealer.
You've been so preoccupied lately.
Also, the day you went to her flower shop and then asked her about cheap ways to travel to Hong Kong might have tipped her off a little bit.
I won't stop you. I know you well enough to know I can't. Here, take this amulet.
What is this strange object?
I'm hoping it will keep you safe. At least that's what I've been wishing and willing it to do.
Nozomi.
I'm so glad I was able to give it to you. I've been so busy lately. Getting ready to return to Canada.
Oh yeah, you're leaving for Canada soon.
There's just so little time to prepare to go to Canada, you know? I have to go to school, I have to cry alone at the park, I have to get kidnapped.
Well, I gotta go home.
Yeah, well, be careful.
Okay. We're both leaving Japan.
Japan blows anyway, I'm glad we're leaving.
I wish we had more time.
And then, still oblivious to what good luck charms are, Ryo Hazuki proceeded to eat the amulet, thinking it might be edible. Whoa, was I having another flashback again? Jesus, something's wrong with me, I've got to see someone about that. Oh well, at least it's not that flashback when my dad tries to force feed me carrots when I'm a kid. I hate that flashback.
He comes from a far eastern land, across the ocean. A young man who has yet to realize his own potential. This potential is a power that can both destroy him as well as ensure his will is realized. Perhaps he will achieve the balance that will mark him a man of courage. The path he must traverse is fraught with adversity and filled with expectations. I await whilst praying for the realization of this destiny predetermined since ancient times. A pitch-black night unfolds, with morning star as its only light. And thus, the saga begins.
Oh, come on, Sega. You can't say, and thus the saga begins, at the end of your video game? That's just confusing on so many levels. Well, there we go. That's Shenmue. These credits go on for quite a while, so I think I could use this time to ramble things at you, and the first thing I'd like to talk about is why I think the game is wrong when it says it takes place on Saturday the 10th, because, well, that just kind of implies that Ryo Hazuki leaves for Hong Kong immediately after beating Terry and the Mad Angels, and I think that's just kind of silly, because that means he went to bed at, 5 in the morning, got up at 8:30, and then in the 15 minutes after he woke up, got packed, got everything ready, got his passport and shit, and left for Hong Kong. Okay, I know he's kind of travelling light, and, you know, I know he's some kind of karate master, but, you know, I think it'll take more than 15 minutes to prepare for a trip to Hong Kong, just, you know. Also, even though he is kind of an emotionless robot for a majority of the game, I'd like to think he has the common courtesy to say goodbye to his friends and family, as opposed to just leaving without really telling anyone, you know? I don't know. Also, there's that flashback we just had with Nozomi, and that had to have happened at some point, and, well, the game doesn't really seem to... I don't know, if you take what the game says, as in, like, you leave immediately, then there's not really any time for that flashback to happen, you know. There had to be an evening at some point where Nozomi and Ryo Hazuki meet up, and then she gives him the amulet. So, yeah, that's just another little thing. Also, maybe, I'd like to think that he went to school and organised some kind of study leave, just so that they know that he's not going to turn up for a good while. I mean, from what I understand, he had this whole... he was getting ready to go to university before his father died, so he might want to do something about that before he goes on his whole vengeance quest. Maybe he won't, but that's just kind of something that I thought might be nice. And that would just at least kind of stop you from thinking about it in the next part, Give you one less thing to worry about. So yeah, that's why I think that maybe there was like a week or a few days after we beat up the Mad Angels where Ryo Hazuki just kind of recuperated, after the big fight, got his things together, packed his bags, convinced Ine-san that he was going to go on a manhunt of some sort, and yeah, that was that's why I think that that's not the right time. So that's that discussed. I guess the next thing I could talk about is the game itself. I really do like Shenmue. It is a fun game. It's definitely got some problems, and I guess you could chalk some of those up to it having it, I guess it hasn't really aged very well, but also one thing that is genuinely bad about the game, it has probably the worst pacing of any video game out there. Like, it takes ages for it to go anywhere. And especially at the first part, you're really doing nothing of importance at the first disc or so. I mean, what are you doing? You're looking for a black car, then you're looking for Chinese people, and then you're looking for sailors, and then suddenly you're looking for Charlie, and then suddenly the whole Charlie thing is dropped, and then you're trying to translate a letter that isn't related to any of that, really. So I feel like maybe if you just kind of... if the game started off where the letter, like if with Ine-san giving you a letter, or you getting that letter and trying to find out more about it, maybe the game wouldn't seem so boring to begin with, although I think part of me thinks they intentionally kept the first part of the game slow to give you an excuse to go around town and talking to all these people, because I think what it is that they spent so much time and money creating this highly detailed game world and coming up with all these different NPCs, and all the NPCs in this game are unique. There's like not, I don't know, there's no sort of like repeating generic NPCs in this game, which I think is actually kind of cool. Like, every person kind of has their own thing in this game, and there was that kind of attention to detail that that a lot of people praised, and I think they kind of didn't want people to skip out on, because otherwise if you didn't go around town talking to people, you could very easily miss out on a lot of this stuff. And that's the thing, there's a lot of detail here that you can easily overlook, and a lot of the game is kind of optional, and there's no real incentive for you to look for these things, aside from your own interest to find out more about the game world itself, if I'm making much sense here. I could take, for example, the whole, the Nozomi thing. Her relationship with Ryo Hazuki is kind of something that is supposed to be a major thing. Like, Nozomi is a major character in this game, but if you don't sort of call her every night, and you don't find those optional cutscenes, like the one that you can only get after Christmas, or the one where you rescue her from the two bullies in the park, then it really seems like you don't really have to talk to her at all, really, aside from a few instances, and it just kind of seems like if you don't do that, then their relationship has almost no part of the story, and then suddenly when she gets kidnapped, it seems kind of out of the blue. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Another thing as well, Shen Miao. It's entirely possible to just ignore all of Shen Miao's subplot. You don't have to feed her. There's no real in-game reward for feeding her either. You don't get anything out of it aside from finding out more about Shen Miao and Megumi and seeing what happens to the cat. And, it's kind of fulfilling in the sense that, hooray, we find out what happens to the cat, but there's no real... I don't know, there's like... It's completely optional, so I guess what I'm saying is that you have to kind of put effort into finding all this stuff, and the game's just not going to give it to you. And, if you don't do that stuff, then the game can come off as just kind of having this disjointed narrative in some parts. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm just kind of... not really... I'm just kind of rambling here, and I don't know if I'm just kind of confusing you all with this, but I hope you get what I mean. It's the kind of game where you have to spend time sort of taking in the story and the game world. I guess it's it's kind of like with me and Dark Souls, where by the time I completed Dark Souls, I had no idea what the story was. In fact, I kind of forgot what I was supposed to be doing, and like, I don't know, the game has this kind of huge, complex lore with all these characters, and I just really didn't care for it all that much. I just wanted to get through the stupid dungeons, and so I just kind of ended up missing out on all the whole, like, game lore of Dark Souls. It's kind of like that. I'm not saying Shenmue is as rich and as deep as Dark Souls is. I'm just saying, you know, that's the kind of narrative they give you. It's what you take from it, I guess. But yeah, that's Shenmue. And I hope you guys enjoyed watching this silly Let's Play, and I hope it wasn't too boring for you to begin with. You know, I tried to make it interesting, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching and stuff. At the risk of sounding like some kind of horrible YouTube attention whore, I do like reading your guys' comments on the videos, so please comment. Please give me feedback on how I did. If you think, you know, give me your opinion on what you thought of this game. If you think Shenmue looks pretty cool, or if you think it's totally dumb and overhyped, let me know. Give me feedback on how I did the Let's Play. If you think maybe, I don't know, if you thought it was good, let me know. If you thought it was terrible, let me know. If you think there are some things that I did badly and some things I should avoid the next time I do one of these Let's Plays, let me know. If you think I should do live commentary, fuck you. I'm not going to do a live commentary for a slow game like Shenmue. But yeah, that's kind of it. But yeah, give me feedback. Send me a message or like comment on this video, or send me an ask on Tumblr maybe. Send me a PM. Actually, I think PMs are disabled in my YouTube thing. But yeah, you can go to my Tumblr and send me an ask. Just give me some feedback or send me hate mail, whatever. I enjoy reading all your guys' stupid shit. So yeah, that is kind of it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone who gave silly names for Shen Miao. You know, I liked all the names that were given, so thanks for taking part in that silly thing. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for probably Shenmue 2 at some point, eventually.